So welcome everyone to practice. And here at the front end, let's remind ourselves that we gather in love. Maybe take a breath, settle into this space, settle into our circle. So I have been watching some stand-up comedy on YouTube. And you may say, "What? Rebecca, you watch YouTube?" Or you might say, "You watch you watch stand-up comedy?" Um, and honestly, I don't generally, and I cannot remember how I happened on to this certain individual. And of course, I fully believe that it has something to do with the flow of love and love wanting me to find this person in order to gain some great hope. As I watch this person, and I will post a link to the particular video that I'm referencing tonight. I'll post a link to it on the Mighty Network. But as I've watched him, I think it's like calls to like there's something different about this guy. He seems to be coming from a slightly different place. His name is Josh Johnson, and I would love to find out that he's some sort of distant relative of mine. He's really funny without being foul or mean. And he comes across intermittently with this incredible love ethic that is sort of like this through line through his comedy. And it's like in between his really funny stories about falling in a pool at a party or what a police dog might say to other police dogs at the dog or to regular dogs at the dog park. He does these really brief moments of deep wisdom and heart. So this one that I was watching in the last couple of days is titled something about surviving a possible recession. In this video, he's not giving investment or savings advice. He's offering some soul wisdom. And here's what he says. He says, fundamentally, the toughest thing people are facing right now is a true way forward where they can trust other people to help them and take care of them. We're looking for a true way forward where we can trust other people. And he says, the way forward, the future, and then he says, I promise you, is in your neighbor. The way forward, the future, I promise you, is in your neighbor. So many of us, even if we never went or grew up in a Christian church, we have heard this story or about this story of the Good Samaritan. And that whole story gets told in the Bible because a guy walks up to Jesus and asks Jesus what he needed to do in order to inherit eternal life. So Jesus asks him back, well, what do you think? What do you think the scripture says about that? And the man replies, well, it says that I should love God with all my heart and soul and mind, and I should love my neighbor as myself. And Jesus said, sounds right to me. Go ahead and do that. And then the guy stops and says, but, looking for a loophole here, Who is my neighbor? So Jesus tells this story about who a neighbor might be. And the story is about Jews and Samaritans. And Jews revile Samaritans. They think they don't have the right beliefs. They think they don't have the right actions or beliefs about religion. And it's a little bit like the situation that we're in now, in which the right and the left tend to revile one another. So we're going to change the story up a little bit, the story of the Good Samaritan. And we're going to say that there's this guy and he's walking down the street and he's wearing a Deport Elon Musk hat and he gets dragged into an alley and beat up and robbed and left there. So then another person walks by the end of the alley. They hear something going on down there. This person happens to have a Save the Rainforest hat on. And they hear something moaning and calling and crying out, and it just feels too scary to them. And instead of going down to look to see what's happening, they pass on by. Then along comes a gal in an abortion rights hat, a freedom of choice hat. And she also sees this person in need, but she also passes by because she's got a rally she really needs to get to. So finally, along comes an old guy with a MAGA hat on, and he peers down the alley. He sees a person in need. He pulls up his pickup truck. He loads the guy in, and he rushes him to the emergency room. And when he gets there, he tells the emergency room, "Send me the bill. I'll take care of this guy." So this is exactly the story Jesus was telling at that time. This was how different the Samaritans were from the Jews. And it was the Samaritan in the story, the one that was reviled, that took care of their neighbor. And so Jesus said, which one of these people was the neighbor? And the guy had to say, the one who showed mercy, not the one who agreed with the other person, not the one who shared the same opinions. It was the one who treated him as a valuable human being, the one who showed love. So what we have been talking about here is that we are all each other's neighbors. All. No one is excluded. So I mentioned before the phrase, the beloved community. So we were kind of spending our time focusing on that word beloved. But let's look at that other word, community. What does that word mean? So we have come to think of it in terms of people who share similar values, opinions, religious beliefs. But that's not at all what it originally meant. The root word to community is common. So it meant what we have in common, not what our differences are. So what do we have in common? Of course, we have our humanity. Of course, we have what we've been talking about here, that we are all loved, all beloved. So back to what Josh was saying. He said most people return energy. They give like for like. He says, if there's a community that you want around you, all you have to do is be its founder. All you have to do is be its founder. And that can be scary or intimidating because we look at something like this circle. You know, we've gotten to know each other. We feel like a community here. We think about this as being our community, but we have to stop thinking like that. I founded this community. And so people then look at it and say, oh my gosh, I could never do something like this. I could never pull something like this together. But this is not really what community means. So being a founder of your own beloved community might look like making conversation with the person in front of you when you're standing in line at the pharmacy, and that person happens to have an NRA hat on, somebody you disagree with. It might be connecting with a woman who has an America First t-shirt on or says something about the Constitution. And you automatically have they're not one of me. They're not one of us. Might just mean taking some cookies over at your neighbor, even though you suspect they have different values than you have. So I'll end my talking with Josh again. He says, the way to ensure that you're going to be okay, the way to ensure that your family is going to be okay is by linking up. The way forward, your future, I promise you, is your neighbor. And when he says that, the crowd bursts into applause, prolonged applause. So it strikes a chord, even though sometimes it's really hard to do. So let's practice together. Let's all take a deep breath in. And as we let that breath out, just drop into this moment, allowing yourself to feel yourself in the chair. Allowing yourself to feel here now. And then taking another breath in. And as we let that one out, just imagining that you're dropping down into an ocean of love. Just like a raindrop drops into the ocean. See if you can begin to become a part of that ocean, open to it. Beginning to have the idea that you may not be separate from it. Now I invite you to drop into your own experience. And that simply means to notice whatever it is that you can notice about yourself in this moment. Noticing what you might be feeling. Noticing anything that uses your senses, like hearing or touch, anything physical in your body. noticing your thoughts and noticing how I didn't say that you need to change any of that. Just simply noticing what's here now. And that's our first step into presence. So we'll just stay with our experience for a few more breaths. And then we deepen our experience of presence by bringing our attention to our physical being, body. We begin by giving our attention to our feet and noticing whatever it is we can notice about our feet right now. And then our ankles. Noticing our lower legs, our knees, and our upper legs. Noticing our hips, and our pelvis. Noticing our belly and all the organs of the belly. Noticing our chest. And then seeing if you can notice your own beating heart. Coming deeply present with your heartbeat. Noticing your shoulders, your upper arms, your elbows, your lower arms, and your hands. And then drawing attention to your low back, all the way down at the tailbone. And following the spine up so that you also notice the muscles, the rib cage, and the scapula. Noticing the neck, the scalp, and your face. And then noticing your body as a whole, this physical being that's you here now. And really imprinting on this sensation of your physical being. This is what it's like to be in my body now. I've said it many times, but once again, it's the body that will ground us when the emotions, the situation in the world rocks us. We can come home to our bodies. Now bringing your awareness to your heart, to your emotional center, and very tenderly and lovingly paying attention to whatever it is that you're feeling. Whatever is in or on your heart right now. Not needing to change anything, not needing to fix anything. Just coming to know your own heart. And then recalling that ocean of love that we are in and allowing that ocean to fill your heart. And then just see what happens. Maybe something shifts. Maybe you feel some peace. And then bringing your awareness to the part of you that is spirit. This is your aliveness. Doesn't depend at all upon how your body is feeling or doing. Doesn't depend on your thoughts. Simply is a part of you, and see if you can notice that part. The energy, the flow, and let love interact with that part of you. What is that like? What happens to your aliveness if love is fully present? And now letting that ocean fill your mind. What happens to our thoughts if we let love live side by side with them? Now noticing yourself as one whole being, that you are body, heart, spirit, mind, here now, here in this world, and that all things, all people, all beings are our neighbor. We are a part of it. Feeling the physical earth drawing you into itself. being acted upon by the force of gravity, holding you here, holding you here. You are not doing the holding, you're being held. So you can relax. You can stop holding yourself and let yourself be held by the earth and by love. And imagining that all other things are held by love. Staying grounded in your full being, remaining in a space of open relaxation. Begin to notice your breath. Begin to notice that natural, effortless flow of the breath coming into your body and flowing back out again. Noticing how easily you receive and let go. Recognizing this natural flow is a part of all things. When we resist, when we hold on, it's difficult because we're resisting the natural. Once the body teaches us how to let go, how to relax, how to surrender, everything becomes easeful. So just following that out breath all the way out into a complete letting go. Nothing to do now, nothing to think about. No planning, no worry, no regrets. Just resting in simple being. From this place, ask yourself, what community do you want around you? What do you want the world to be like? Whatever community you want, be its founder. Thank you so much for practicing with me and supporting my own practice. I love you all.